Today I'm back with another progress video on the Pixel Clock. So after many hours of 3D printing, we now have some parts ready to be assembled into the final clock. In the last video you'll recall that we had problems with some of the printers, especially the Voron, printing at a certain angle. Well, it turns out that it is actually racked and will require disassembly to fix that. Not entirely sure where that came into effect, but it's definitely broken. Let me know in the comments below if you'd be interested in a video of me stripping it down, rebuilding it and fixing it. Without further ado, let's get on with the assembly. When doing projects that require a lot of 3D printed parts, it's really easy to print out a load of parts and then they will get lost. So instead, I put them all in one storage box. So this is all the parts that are required to put the clock together. There's a lot of repeat parts, so 10 times diffusers, for example, 10 times back plates, cable channeling. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to assemble the back plane. And in order to do so, we've got these little cross pieces, and these screw into the backs of the plates. And that one going across like that. Here's one I prepared earlier. It shows you how it's all screwed together, and there is one little attachment there to hold this side piece in place as well. So this is part one of two, so there'll be one of these and then another one, and then a center part that fits in between them. We may have trouble getting this on camera. So the things you discover in the early doors of a YouTube channel is that you need enough space to actually film things. Now, the little bench that I've got upstairs, which is next to my filming rig, is not really big enough to hold this sort of size of project. This is only a moderate sized project, but that workbench is designed for much smaller items. So we've decamped to a bigger space to work with. If you've seen in my previous videos, this is actually the craft cabinet that I built a couple of videos ago. So the next step is we'll attach some of the cable routing. Now, this goes kind of offsets, if you like, that way around the edges of the frame. Probably be taking those back off again to get cables through, putting them back on later. Then have the corner pieces to go in, and these are semi-assembly required because you have these plates here which go into the corners, so like so. But before we attach those, they need to have either the cleats attached to them, or if they're on the bottom, then the regular feet attached to them. So there's a design oversight with this piece. There's two screw holes, one located here and one located here. Now with the cleat attached, you can't actually get a screwdriver through it, which is what this hole's here for. This is to allow for a screwdriver to go through and be able to do this particular screw up. Not particularly pretty, but it does actually work. So before turning it over, I'm going to put the cable channels on, put the back plate on. Let's turn it over. You can see what the front of the clock's going to look like. So you should be able to see all the little strips here, where all the LED strips are going to go into. We also have these little crescents that go in as inserts into each of the back panels. And the intention of these is that the cables will be routed through them. This is to make this much easier to assemble. So we'll make each of the little cables to fit each of these little crescent things. And what it will allow us to do is it will allow us to cut all the cables to the right sizes, insert them into the crescents, glue them into the crescents, and then just keep putting them down into the board and then solder the ends of each of the strips. So these are 16 LED strips times 40. So they'll go into the channels to be stuck down. And then repeat that all the way along the clock. I've done the first 8 rows, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to do the rest of these off camera. I'm going to fit a couple of the diffusers, but they're not going to stay. They need to be taken back off again so that I can actually wire the strips up. But it'll give you an idea of what the whole thing looks like when assembled. So these just sit on top of the LED strips, like so. And then there's screws through, 5 in total, in each of the panels, to hold it to the front of the LEDs. So then once all the wiring's done and everything else is ready, we can put the caps on. So there's caps that go on each of the different strips to cap off all the wiring and to neaten that up. It gives us a sort of black border effect across it. Haven't quite decided if we keep the black or we go white, but for now we'll do it in black. So that's 2 of the 10 panels done. And the rest of them will be exactly the same. It's just a bit of a repeat over and over again for the other 8 panels. But that's where we'll leave it for now. That can all be done in the final assembly. So the next steps will be to complete the wiring on the clock. In order to do so, each of the LED strips will have to have 3 cables connected to it, a power, a ground and a data, around about 40 times as we go around the clock. Now, that's going to be not particularly interesting video content, so I'll probably be doing that off camera. That's all for now. If you like this sort of content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can support my endeavours further through Buy Me a Coffee, link in the description below. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.